Okay, so magandang araw po sa ating lahat. So, before I start, I would like to uh, present first myself again. So, ako si Mr. Ferdinand Sigavia Rosete, your instructor here in the subject Life and Works of Rizal. Okay, so, bakit ba natin pinag-aaralan ang subject na Rizal? No, aside from the fact that it is a mandatory subject, no, it was actually mandated by Republic Act number 1425 or also known as the Rizal Law. So it was enacted last June 12, 1956 and took effect on August 16, 1956. So it was sponsored by our Senator Jose P. Laurel Sr. as chairman of the Senate Committee on Education. Okay, so the law mandates the study of life of Dr. Jose Rizal, no, which is included in the curricula in all schools, colleges, and universities, especially in tertiary and graduate levels. So both in public or private schools. So it should consist the study of Rizal's life, works, and virtues, most notably the two great novels, yung Noli Me Tangere at saka Il Filibusterismo. So it is mandatory. Lahat po na nag-aaral ng college or sa tertiary is iti-take po talaga ang subject na to. Okay, so by integrating Rizal in our curriculum, so it would benefit the Filipino youth as well as the whole nation to acquire the following traits: incorruptible, no, confidence, direction, courage, and determination, high sense of relationship, nationalism, and patriotism. So, DepEd Order number 2, series of 1996, directs the Committee of Education for the inclusion of the Rizal course as a 3-unit lesson with the following aims and purposes. So, ito po yung mga official aims and purpose ng Rizal subject. First one is, the law aims and desires to reestablish that the Filipinos themselves be imbued with the principles of freedom and sense of nationalism. So by studying the life of Rizal, we must inject in our mind the sense of nationalism. And then secondly, we have the law aims to honor the heroes, particularly Dr. Jose P. Rizal, and to remind us of his sacrifices and his two novels, which is the Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, that paved the way to the nationalism and patriotism of the entire country. Okay, by honoring our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. And lastly, the law aims to cultivate and inculcate among the students in all schools the character development, self-discipline, civic consciousness, and to teach the duties of citizenship, which became the primary reasons for the enactment of the law for reforms and changes. So, di ba kasi ang buhay ni Rizal ay isang napakagandang halimbawa or ehemplo na kailangan tularan ng bawat Pilipino mula noon hanggang sa ngayon. So that is why Rizal Law is created, no? It is a best example for us that we must follow. Okay, to take one's interest of and to comprehend fully and satisfactorily the life, works, and writings of Dr. Jose Rizal, our national hero, it is intended to indispensable to gain knowledge of the background of the world history and the Philippines during his time. So once we started studying the life of Rizal, we are going also to study the history of the Philippines as well, especially in the 19th century, no, kung saan yung panahon kung saan siya ay nabuhay. Okay, so on June 19, 1861, it was the day when Jose P. Rizal was born, no. Then, as the Titanic chaos exploded on April 12, 1861, which resulted into the American Civil War. Ang American Civil War po ay nagsimula noong 1861 to 1865, no? That raged indignantly in the United States over the issue of Negro slavery, compelling President Abraham Lincoln to proclaim the emancipation of Negro slaves in September 22, 1862. Okay? So, sinasabi na nung Rizal's time was deemed to be the height of the maladministration of Spain, no? Okay, so ang Pilipino is nagsuffered, no, during the time of Spanish, because what? Maraming mga misconduct, especially sa mga batas, no? Yung kung paano nila itrato ang mga Pilipino ng panahon ngayon. So what ano ba yung mga ginawa or naganap nung panahon nung pananakop ng mga Espanyol sa atin. Una is yung instability of colonial administration. We have corrupt Spanish officials, No Philippine representation to the Spanish courts, human rights denied to Filipinos, no equality before the law, maladministration of justice, racial discrimination, philocracy, or secularization of Filipino priests. We have forced labor and excessive taxes, haciendas owned by friars and Spanish officials, and 11, the abuse of the Guardia Civil, church officials, and the political leaders. So later on, we will be discussing about those 11s, no? 11 situations or scenarios na nangyari noong panahon ng pananakop ng mga Espanyol sa atin. So Dr. Rizal's writing summarizes his nationalistic and patriotic philosophy as well as his keen sense of awareness of the Filipino people's need for nation building. No? A tribute to a man and hero should be our rationale because we believe that Dr. Jose Rizal was an exponent of the roots of our nationhood. So malaki ang naging part ng buhay ni Jose Rizal sa atin bilang isang Pilipino at bilang isang bansa. So dahil sa kanyang mga aksyon, nagkaroon tayo ng lakas ng loob, no? Nagkaroon ng mukha ang kalayaan ng bansang Pilipinas. So paano ba napili si Dr. Jose Rizal bilang isang national hero? Okay, dito sa Pilipinas. Okay, so it has been said that Dr. Jose Portasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso was a man of many talents, no? So provided the Noli Me Tangere and the El Filibusterismo, it awakens the Filipino nationalism, no? And paved, no, ito nakapagsimula ng Philippine Revolution of 1896. So Jose Rizal proved that pen is mightier than the sword to redeem a people from their political slavery. So malakas daw para kay Rizal, mas malakas ang kapangyarihan ng pen, no, kaysa sa sword na kung saan ginagamitan ng physical na kalakasan. So ang mga Amerikano, particularly the civil governor William Howard Taft, being the chairman of the Philippine Commission, addressed missionaries Pardo de Tavera, Ligarda, Gregorio Araneta, Cayetano Arellano, the choosing of the Philippine national hero, no? Among the nominated names, no? Sino-sino ba yung mga nominado para maging national hero ng Pilipinas? So we have here the Marcelo H. Del Pilar, no? General Antonio Luna, Gregorio Lopez Haina, Emilio Jacinto, and Jose Rizal. So silang lima po ang pinagpilian kung sino ang ating magiging national hero. So luckily, si Jose Rizal po yung napili. So to Dr. Otley Bayer, isang anthropologist and technical member of the panel ng Philippine Commission nung panahon na yon, nag-set siya ng mga criteria sa pagpili ng isang national hero ng Pilipinas. So we have, first, kailangan he should be a Filipino. Next, he is a peace-loving person. Third, he has high ideals and love of country. And number four, he died for the country as martyr. So yung apat na qualification na yun or criteria or category, kailangan ma-meet, no, nung limang nominado para sila ay ma-considered as Philippine national hero. So ano ba yung mga reasons, no? Why is Rizal was chosen and declared as the Philippines national hero? Ito yung mga rason. Una, he was the first Filipino to unite and awaken the Filipino people to peacefully rise for independence. Peacefully rise for independence. He is the first Filipino to awaken the nationalism, no, of the Filipinos through peaceful way. Second is that he is a model for being a peacemaker by his complete self-denial, no? Hindi niya inisip yung kanyang sarili, inisip niya yung kanyang bansa, no? Yung kanyang mga kababayan. He was a towering figure in the propaganda campaign from 1882 to 1896. When I say towering figure, prominent figure. Then number 4, he was a martyr at Bagong Bayan where he willingly died for our country. So kung saan siya pinatay. So kung i-check natin, yung apat na reasons na yon ay na-address yung apat na categories na sinet nino. Sino nag-set ng categories na yon or qualification? Si Dr. Otley Bayer. Okay? So that is why Dr. Jose Rizal was nominated and choose as our national hero hanggang sa ngayon. So other countries choose their national hero. Meron silang kanya-kanyang qualification sa pagpili ng kanilang national hero. So we considered Occidental nations, no? When we say Occidental nations, sila yung mga bansa from other sa labas ng Pilipinas, no? Na kung saan more on sword ang kanilang ginagamit. They are warriors and generals who serve their cause, no? Nagbuwis ng buhay, ng dugo, ng luha, no? While the Filipinos are what? Hero of the Filipinos served his cause or their cause with the pen. Like Jose Rizal. Okay? So other countries choose their national heroes who were generals who fought for the country's liberty and independence in the battlefield with their mighty sword. Ang ibang mga bansa, ang kanilang piniling national hero is yung mga taong ibinuwis ang kanilang buhay, no, sa pamamagitan ng pakikipaglaban o pakikipagbaka through their sword para sa kanilang kalayaan. Okay? So among them were George Washington of USA, 'di ba? We have Joan of Arc ng France. We have Simon Bolivar of Venezuela, Jose de San Martin of Argentina, Jemuteno of Japan, and so on and so forth. So in comparison naman, we have Jose Rizal dito sa Pilipinas, no? Isang civilian who served with a cause with his what? His pen. When we say his pen, through his writings, which awakened the nationalism of the Filipinos, no? That paved away the Philippine Revolution. So what other great men said about the pen and sword? So according to Napoleon, who was a great conqueror and ruler, said, "There are only two powers in the world, the sword and pen. And in the end, the former is always conquered by the latter." So ibig sabihin, according kay Napoleon, no, ang pinaka powerful daw is the sword. According to Napoleon, point of view of Napoleon yun na. While according to Sir Thomas Browne, no, scholars are men of peace. They bear no arms, but their tongue are sharper than sword. Their pens carry farther and gives a louder report than thunder. I rather stand in the shock of a basilisk than in the fury of the merciless pen. Okay? So according to Sir Thomas Browne naman daw, so scholars are more peace, no? But their tongue are sharper than the sword. Ibig sabihin, more on pen siya. So si Rizal kasi, he is more complete self-denial. Wala siyang ibang iniisip kundi yung kanyang mga kababayan at kanyang bansa. So hindi niya iniisip yung kanyang sarili. That is why isa sa mga reason yun na nailatag kung bakit siya napili bilang isang national hero po, na bilang nag-iisang national hero ng Pilipinas. So ano ba yung mga honors accorded to Dr. Jose P. Rizal, the Philippine national hero? So the first one, the day of his birth and day of his execution are fittingly commemorated by all classes of people throughout the country and other Filipinos abroad. Diba yung kanyang kapanganakan at kanyang pagkamatay hanggang sa ngayon ay kinikilala pa rin natin, no? No other Filipino hero can surpass Rizal in the number of monuments erected in his honor in towns, bayos, and schools. Diba kahit saan tayo pumunta sa mga baryo, sa mga bayan, sa mga iba't ibang probinsya, napakaraming monumentong itinayo in the essence or in the sense of heroism of Dr. Jose P. Rizal. No? Yung kanyang pangalan is a byword in every home. Lahat ng tao kilala siya. When we say Rizal, automatically they already know that he is our national hero. No? His picture is printed and used in postage stamps. Yung mga doon natin, paper money, diba? At saka coins, meron din siyang mga image doon. Streets, boulevards, educational institutions, no? Yung mga lugar, yung mga school, no? Yung mga ibang mga tao, no? Ipinapangalan na parang ganun sa kay Rizal din. 'Di ba? Mayroon tayong mga school na Jose P. Rizal University, 'di ba? Mayroong mga street, mayroong mga barangay, mayroong mga municipality or provinces. Okay? And then we have his noble thoughts and teachings had been frequently invoked and quoted by the speakers. O yan, lagi yan. Kapag meron tayong mga seminars na na-attendan, no? Online or personally, karamihan sa kanila is nag-i-inject ng quoted or ng mga quotes na kung saan nanggaling sa ating national hero which is Jose Rizal. Okay? So ano ba, no? Ano ba ang itsura? Ano ba ang sitwasyon ng Pilipinas nung panahon ni Rizal during the Spanish time, no? So Spanish rule was imposed in the Philippines by conquest. So tayo po ay sinakop ng mga Spaniards, no? Sa pangunguna ni Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, no? Kung saan siya ang nag-establish ng first Spanish settlement noong 1565 saan sa Cebu, no? So before kasi nung before siya dumating doon, ang mga natives natin ay meron ng talagang sariling kultura at gobyerno, no? Ang chieftain ng isang lugar ay tinatawag nilang what? Datu, no? Independent of each other and had its own laws. So mayroon na tayong mga batas nung unang panahon pa lang before pa dumating ang mga Spanish. So the natives before already know how to read and how to write. So we have their own literature and native arts. So despite from being primitive, no, it was still in the process of normal development. So Spanish Catholicism ang ginamit ng mga Spaniards, no, para ma-conquer yung kaisipan ng mga Pilipino. So paano ba ang political system nung dumating ang mga Spaniards sa Pilipinas? So, merong iba't ibang klase ng posisyon, no? Kumbaga, ang presidente nung unang panahon is considered or tinatawag na Gobernador General, no? It was actually appointed by the Spanish king. He did the central administration, no? He was the king's representative in the governmental matters and was the viceroyal patron over religious matters. So we also have the Governor General assisted by Lieutenant General or General Segundo Cabo, and advisory bodies such as Board of Authorities, Council of Administration, and Secretariat of the Central Government. Okay, we also have the provincial government or alcaldias run by the civil governors or the city government called Cabildo or Ayuntamiento, no? Administered by a mayor and a vice mayor who were both chief executives and chief judicial magistrate. So, itong mga positions na ito ay occupied by Spaniards. Sa local government naman, we have Gobernador Silio, na later on tinawag na siyang kapitan. So, this is the highest position in the government to which a native Filipino could be appointed. So, yung mga naunang positions, no, those are occupied by Spaniards, while in the local government, Gobernador Silio ang pinakamataas na posisyon na maaaring ma-acquire ng isang Pilipino during the time of Jose Rizal. Okay, he was elected at the beginning of every year by the Principalia, made up of the incumbent ex-cabeza de barangay, the smallest unit of government. So, the barangay or barrio headed by the cabeza de barangay, yung captain na tinatawag natin ngayon, whose main responsibility was to collect taxes and tributes from the families. Okay, kapag ikaw ay isang cabeza de barangay o kapitan, no, sa isang barangay, ikaw ang mangongolekta ng mga taxes. So, meron kang dyan, nung panahon nila, mayroon tayong tinatawag na stipend, no? For his services, he received 2% of the tax proceeds and 4% of the sanctorum of the tax paid to the church each year to cover the cost of 3 fiestas. So, para saan ba yung mga taxes daw na yun? We have 3 fiestas, namely All Saints Day, Holy Thursday, and Corpus Christi. So, para ma-ensure na ang mga revenues ay collected at maibibigay sa tamang tao, yung properties ng kabesa de barangay ay naka-mortgage sa state for the entire duration of his term, di ba? So kung ikaw ay kabesa de barangay nung panahon na yun, lahat ng property mo i-hold ng state yan para makasigurado sila na lahat ng taxes na mako-collect mo ay siguradong sa kanila madidiretso. Okay, we have abuses of the government. So, we are already knew about this, di ba? Nung panahon ng mga Spaniards, maraming mga abuses na naganap. So, bakit merong ganito? Kasi, merong sariling prerogative yung government nung time ng mga Espanyol. They are undisciplined, no? They are boastful. Okay, so we have the provincial government where the alcalde mayor was the administrator, judge, military commander was the most corrupt branch of the government. So, yung the most corrupt government is doon sa provincial government, doon sa kumbaga sa mayor part, mayor vice mayor part nung panahon nila Rizal, doon ang most corrupt part ng officers, mga officials. Ano bang educational system nung panahon ni Rizal? Okay? So, the parochial school were established with Spanish missionaries as the teachers. Ang mga teacher nung unang panahon, nung panahon ng mga Spaniards is yung mga missionaries. Alam natin yan. So, the friars occupied the dominant positions. Alam na, ano na yan, given na yan, di ba? Dahil panahon ng mga Espanyol, lahat ng highest position is what? It was actually occupied by them. Bakit kaya ganon? Dahil, para maiwasan yung power ng mga Filipino, because they wanted to be dominant before us. Siyempre, di ba, kung sinakop mo ang isang bansa, kailangan or gusto mo, ikaw ang mas makapangyarihan kaysa sa mga taong naninirahan dito. So, the students were taught in the native dialects, although there was a law requiring the children to be taught in Spanish. So, merong batas ang mga Spaniards na kailangan ang mga bata is turuan sa kanilang through the Spanish language. Pero dahil nga gusto nilang ma-maintain na sila ang dominant, hindi nila tinuturo yung nararapat sa mga bata. Tinuturuan nila ang mga bata through the use of native language, hindi through the use of Spanish. Dahil ano ang reason nila? Kasi ang reason nila pag natuto daw po ng Spanish ang mga Pilipino, maaari silang maging mas powerful kaysa sa kanila, mga Spaniards. Okay, so at the end of the Spanish period, the UST or University of the Santo Tomas was the only institution of university level in Manila. Okay, it was established in 1611 solely for the Spaniards and mestizos. So it opened its doors to Filipino students 4 decades before the end of the Spanish regime, kung saan si Jose Rizal ay nakapag-aral at iba pang ating and other heroes had come to study doon sa UST. The official secondary schools for boys were San Juan de Lectran College and Ateneo de Manila. We also have our secondary education for girls, which established in Manila, pioneered by Santa Isabel College, La Concordia, Santa Catalina College, Santa Rosa, and Asilo de Locan. Okay, so although the Spanish colonial administration issued the Educational Decree of 20 December 1863 stating each major town in the Philippines should establish at least one primary school for boys and another for girls, that the medium of instruction is Spanish. Still, hindi pa rin ito sinunod dahil nga yung reason na kapag natuto ang mga Pilipino sa pagsasalita ng salitang Espanyol, di ba? Para mas magiging, ang feeling ng mga Spanish, magiging dominant yung mga Pilipino kaysa sa kanila. Okay? Instability of colonial administration. So, when sa instability, paiba-iba. So, during the conquest of Spain in the Philippines, maraming naging presidente, Kumbaga, maraming naging governor general ang Pilipinas. Okay, so the Philippines was ruled by 45 governor generals. So 45, isipin natin yun, 45 governor generals because of the instability of colonial administration. So ang bawat governor general ay merong average term na 1 taon at 3 buwan. At one time, merong from December 1853 to November 1854, a period of less than a year, there were 4 governors general. So, kung ganon ka unstable, yung colonial administration ng panahon ng mga Spaniards, siguro dahil na rin sa kanilang undisciplined way attitude, at saka yung corruption. Kaya ganon. So we have corrupt Spanish officials, So indicated dito kung sino-sino sila. General Rafael de Izquierdo, kung saan siya ang humatol, kila yung sa Gomborsa, yung tatlong martir na pari noong 1872. We also have Jose Malcampo, General Fernando Primo de Vera, General Valeriano Weyler. We also have General Camilo de Polavieja. So sila yung mga kilalang Spaniard officials na kung saan napaka-corrupt, no? Then the Philippine representation in the Spanish court or Cortes. Dati, the first period of Philippine representation in the Spanish Cortes is noong 1810 to 1813. It was fruitful and beneficent result for the welfare of the colony. Pero after that, hindi na po nabigyan ng pagkakataon ng Pilipinas na magkaroon ng representante sa Spanish court or Cortes. Ano ang result noon, 'di ba? Hindi na napapakinggan yung mga hinaing ng mga Pilipino dito sa Pilipinas nung nawala na yon. So hindi na siya nabigyan ng pagkakataon. Or hindi na tayo nabigyan ng pagkakataon. And then we have human rights denied to Filipinos since the adoption of the Spanish Constitution of 1812 and other constitutions. The people of Spain enjoyed freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of association, and other human rights. So itong mga rights na ito, lahat ng ito ay denied sa mga Pilipino. Binigay itong lahat sa mga Spaniards. So ano ba? No equality before the law. So the Spanish missionaries who introduced Christianity into the Philippines as early as the 16th century thought that all men, irrespective of color and race, are children of God, and such they are brothers, equal before God. Diba? Yung mga missionaries noon na dumating sa Pilipinas, pinakita nila o itinuro nila sa mga natives natin na walang kinikilalang races, no? Races ang Diyos. That was 16th century. Pero as the time goes on, hindi na naging ganoon ang nangyari, 'di ba? Dahil sa abuses ng mga Spaniards, nabaligtad na, hindi na po siya nasunod. So they not implemented that kind of that purpose, no? They arrogantly regarded the brown-skinned Filipinos as inferior beings. So, not their Christian brothers, no, to be protected, but rather as their subjects to be exploited. So, meron na mga nag-abuse, nag-brutalize, persecute, no, pumapatay ng mga Pilipino, no. They could not appeal. Why? Kasi yung may hawak ng batas nung panahon na yun is yung mga Spaniards din. So, useless. Maladministration of justice. Actually, itong maladministration of justice na to, it was actually experienced by Jose Rizal. Diba? And his family. So, twice. First noong 1871 and second noong 1891. Si Doña Chudora, who is the mother of Rizal, was unjustly arrested, no, and jailed on flimsy grounds. Walang due process, bigla na lang siyang inaresto at saka kinulong. And himself, Jose Rizal, was deported noong July 1892 sa Dapitan without benefit of a trial. Also, his brother Pasiano and his brothers-in-law were exiled to various parts of the archipelago without due process of law. So, tatapon sila sa different parts ng Pilipinas. As well as Fathers Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora. Diba? As well as Jose Rizal, they are all executed and become a victim of Spanish miscarriage of justice. So nabanggit ko kanina yung racial discrimination, diba, nung panahon ng mga Spaniards. So we have this what we call phrailocracy or secularization of Filipino priests, diba? Ang nag-rule noong time of Spanish is yung mga pare, no? The Spanish political philosophy of union of church and state arose a unique form of government, no? Yung phrailocracy na tinatawag natin. Because it was a government by friars. When we say phrailocracy, government by friars. The friars, the Augustinians, Dominicans, and Franciscans controlled the religious and educational life of the Philippines. And later in the 19th century, they came to acquire tremendous political power, influences, and riches. So yung mga pari na yan, sila yung pinakamakapangyarihan ng panahon na yon. So, phrailocracy. Okay? And then we have forced labor and high taxes, yung polo e servisyo. So, mandatory na pinapatrabaho yung mga lalaki nung panahon nila. From ages 16 to 60 years old, they are obliged to render forced labor, no? At least 40 days per year. Okay, 40 days per year dapat sila magtatrabaho para sa government noon. Yung mga lalaking merong edad 16 hanggang 60 years old. So yung mga brown Filipinos, no, they are given the dirty job for building or repairing the public works, 'di ba? So yung mga the well-to-do among them were able to escape this manual labor by paying the FALA. So when we say FALA, it is a sum of money paid to the government to be exempted from the pulo e servicio or forced labor. Kung ayaw magtrabaho ng 40 days per year, you have to pay your FALA. Okay, FALA ang tawag nila doon. Parang tax na rin siguro. Para lang maging exempted ka doon sa forced labor na tinatawag nila. So, all white Spanish residents, contrary to law, were not recruited, no, by the colonial authorities to perform the obligatory labor. Second, the Filipino pulistas, according to law, were to receive a daily stipend of 2 pesetas o 50 centavos, pero hindi po nila ito nare-receive at minsan wala pa talaga silang nare-receive. And then, since it is phylocracy, no, or phylocracia, itong mga friars na to is makapangyarihan at napakarami nilang pag-aari or kalupaan. Kasi siyempre sila ang batas kumbaga ng panahon na yun eh. So we have the abuses of Guardia Civil, church officials and political leaders. So the most hated symbol of Spanish tyranny was the Guardia Civil, which was created by the Royal Decree of February 12, 1852 as amended by another royal decree on March 24, 1888 for the purpose of maintaining internal peace and order, no, in the Philippines. Pero ang nangyari kabaligtaran. Itong mga Guardia Civil na ito, sila pa ang nangunguna sa mga abuses sa mga Pilipino, di ba? Yung pagmamaltrato ng mga Pilipino, pagnanakaw ng mga kalabaw, ng mga chicken, no? Pagnanakaw ng mga valuable belongings, and even yung pangre-rape ng mga babae, no? Nung panahon nila. So that's why we have what we call a comfort woman. So both officers, Spaniards and men natives were ill-trained. So nung time na yun, mga Guardia Civil, merong mga Spaniards at meron din mga natives or mga Pilipino, na kung saan itong mga Pilipino na to ay mga abusado rin, no? Sarili nilang lahi, mga kalahi nila inaabusado rin po nila. So ang lahat ng ito po ay na-witness ni Jose Rizal, no? Jose Rizal actually witnessed the atrocities committed by the Guardia Civil on the Calamba Falls, no? He himself and his mother had been victims of the brutalities of a lieutenant of the Guardia Civil, no? So it was natural that Rizal directed his stinging satire against the hated Guardia Civil through Ilyas, no, sa kanyang No Limit Hungary. He exposed the Guardia Civil as a bunch of ruthless ruffians, good only for disturbing peace and persecuting honest men. So nailabas ni Jose Rizal yung tunay na nangyayari doon sa Calamba, Laguna through the use of his No Limit Hungary. No Limit Hungary, di ba? So doon niya pinakita kung paano yung way ng mga Guardia Civil, kung paano ang kanilang ginagawa nung time na yon. So that is the coverage of the chapter 1 of Jose Rizal, which entitled The Study of Jose Rizal Course. So hanggang doon yun. Then later on, I will be giving you a quiz, no, after reading the material uploaded in the Google Classroom and after watching this discussion video. So expect your quiz after watching this, no? So wait for my announcement na lang. So again, thank you.